And we are live. Welcome, everyone. I am CCP. I'd like to welcome you to the third stream here for the Havoc in Focus. The first week we did the Zarzak visuals and sound. Last week I got the opportunity to interview CCP Aurora to go over all of the pirate incursions and how that's going to shake up the factional warfare. Today we're going to be looking at the new toys. We're going to be looking at the new pirate ships. We're going to be looking at the destroyers, the battlecruisers, and of course the Titan. I have a couple of guests with me today. The first one I'm going to introduce right away, and the other one I'm going to save until a little bit later. Welcome, CCP Castrol, to the stream.
Hey, it's nice to be here.
Nice to have you on, man. Thank you for taking your busy time to come and spend an hour with us to go over the ships. I know you are incredibly busy these days. How have you been?
Yeah, just mega busy, like you said. We've been working on the Havoc expansion, all of the insurgency content. So it's been a busy week for us, but we're looking forward to getting it out to you guys in a couple of weeks.
Yes, it's only a couple of weeks to go, 2 weeks ish, 2.5, until November the 14th when Havoc comes out. So we're going to be going through some of these ships together here. I thought we would just do this. So I'm currently on a local build, so I can't have my guests join me today, sadly. But we can show things off, talk about just their fits, their how you could fit them, their slot layout, their attributes, their bonuses, those kind of things, and what they have been designed to kind of do in the game. We're not gonna solve how these ships are meant to be used. We're just gonna talk about them a little bit and just hang out. If we can open up the in-game, we're going to show off that we are currently just on a random build here where I can warp around. And we're going to talk about, first of all, the Mecha. Now, the Mecha and the Mamba, they're both in the game currently. Is that correct, Castro?
Yeah, right now you can get them if you take part in some of the storyline content in Zarzak. If you go into the Drifter Hives and you get the coalesced elements, and then you also do data and relic sites in Wormhole Space, you can get components that you then take to the Deathless Station, the Fulcrum. You can trade that for a Deathless loyalty token, and then if you bring that to an Angel Cartel or Garusta's loyalty point store, you can exchange that for a one-run copy for the Mamba or the Mecha Ball.
I've been seeing people, especially streamers, hopping into these, flying these around, and getting their ass kicked and killing things in them. And it's been pretty cool to see that people go extreme lengths to get these early access ships. I've been seeing guys like Pando go and do PVE on stream to get himself a few of these in his pocket. I haven't seen a lot of these die yet. There's actually been quite a few. I was researching a few characters. The first, the top characters haven't actually been killed in them. I think they're just new characters that have been made specifically to fly these. But I think as the next expansion comes, we're going to see these get into people's hands. Is that correct? They're going to go from being very exclusive to being something that people can acquire easily. Could you talk a little bit about that? They're going to be in the LP store, right?
Yeah, so with the new insurgency content that's coming with Havoc, by doing the pirate factional warfare stuff, you'll get loyalty points which you can then spend with the pirate loyalty point stores, and they'll have these blueprints, and this will actually be the only place you can get the blueprints for the Mecha Ball and the Azerial, as well as the Mamba and the Alligator once the expansion launches. And they'll be a lot cheaper. We're probably expecting the blueprints to be around 20 million for the destroyers and around 60 million for the battlecruisers, but of course players decide the price because loyalty points is whatever players decide they're going to be worth.
It's going to be a lot more achievable than the current ones. The ones that I'm not sure people are buying these for a bill or two now, I think, which is obviously kind of ridiculous for a destroyer. But people want to play with new toys. I'm going to warp over to Sun. Sorry, I'm going to warp over from the Sun to a planet here. I've actually got a few scenarios little set up because I kind of want to compare these ships to already existing ships. So if we look at the bonuses on the ship itself, the Mecha Ball, this is a destroyer which has bonuses to small projectiles. And we recently brought a ship into the game which also has a small projectile bonus. And I kind of want to compare this to other destroyers and just kind of hang out and chat about that. So could you talk about the differences between the Mecha Ball and, for example, the Thrasher Fleet issue? Because the Thrasher Fleet's quite new, isn't it? It came out... was it this summer? Was it? Yeah, I think it was this summer.
It was last year in the Uprising.
The Uprising one, sorry. It came out in Uprising, and that's been a ship that's been quite widely used in factional warfare. If we look at the bonuses next to each other, what are the key differences, in your opinion, between both of these ships?
So I'd say the key difference between the Mechable and the Thrasher fleet issue is that the Mechable has a tracking bonus and the Thrasher fleet issue does not. So the Mechable is maybe a bit better closer up with artillery than the Thrasher fleet issue is. You can also play like dual prop or like more of a close range fit, trying to get under people's guns. The Mechable does actually have like a pretty small signature radius for a destroyer. I think it's 50 meters or around there. So it's actually like only slightly fatter than most frigates in the game, or some of the bigger frigates like a Kestrel, for example. And the other key difference, I think, is that the Mechable slot layout, it has 2 utility highs instead of just one on the Thrasher fleet issue. And the Mechable also gets an extra low slot, so the Mechable is a little easier to go with armor fits, and you can also do like dual newt setups, like I think you've got going there, Bjorn.
Yeah, I actually stole a fit from Casper, but it was like super blingy. I just kind of ported his fit onto like a what looked like a purchasable actual fit. I can see myself flying this in all kinds of different ways. Actually, this thing, I just threw a bunch of damage on it, autocannons, a couple of newts, a long point, an extender. I think this could be a really fun way to fly this thing, where it is able to do a lot of damage and it tracks really well as well. But then just go in and just load hail and not fail, right? I think the key difference, though, is that this thing has one thing that the Thresher fleet doesn't have, and that is this bonus right here, the Angel one, the warp speed and acceleration. This is a speedy little ship.
Yeah,
Sorry, say.
I was going to say it warps slightly faster than most Tech 2 frigates and interdictors in the game. It goes like 5.6 AU per second instead of 4.5 like the Thrasher fleet, so it's quite a bit faster there too.
Yeah, actually, after talking to CCP Aurora and looking at what's coming in the expansion, these changes to the battleship, or not the battleship, the changes to the battlefield site itself, or the changes to the factional warfare, I should say, where you can change, these effects, where you can maybe warp faster and things. The Mechable is going to be insanely fast in those systems. So when the suppression and what's the other mechanic called?
Corruption.
Corruption, thank you. When the corruption mechanic is higher and you get warp speed bonuses, I think having ships like these is going to just be crazy. How do you think the ship is going to stack up against other other destroyers? Where do you think it's going to sit, like damage-wise, or what do you think you would be comfortable fighting the Mechable in out of all the other destroyers?
I think the Mechable is a little better at fighting frigates than some of the other destroyers. Like the Navy destroyers, I think CCP Aurora specifically took all of the tracking bonuses off from them. So you can actually, even in a frigate, you can sometimes go under their guns. Normally destroyers have tracking bonuses. Like I think all of the Tech 1 versions have some kind of tracking bonus except for the Comrant. So it's a little better closer range. I think also having the second utility high just means you have more newt pressure, so you can cap stuff out a bit faster. It's also quite a bit just faster anyway, it has lower sig, so maybe going under like a cruiser's guns is a lot more viable in the Mechable than most other destroyers, although most destroyers kind of struggle a little bit going under cruiser guns.
Yes, cruiser guns they track really well and they kind of just do their own thing. So I myself am not the biggest destroyer pilot. I feel a lot more comfortable in cruisers. But this is one of these type of ships that I think I'm going to enjoy flying a lot. It's also just because of the visuals of it. It looks really fun to like fly. Kind of like the Cinnable. It just has this insecty type vibe to it. And I'm a big fan of insecty looking things. Do you think that when this comes out, it's going to become one of these like regular things that people are going to see in factional warfare, or do you think it's going to take a while for people to figure out how to play it?
It might take a while. It does do a bit less DPS than the Thrasher fleet. That's the main disadvantage it has over the Thrasher fleet, I think.
Yeah. I've been seeing a couple of people talk about how they feel about it, and especially with the price that it's at, it's hard to justify flying this when Thrasher fleets exist right now with the current price range. But that's obviously, with this thing costing like $1 billion or two when you're trying to fly something super exclusive. But I think once the price comes down, I think we're going to see a lot of these all the time. Out of all of the
to see if people also outside of faction warfare start using them. Like the Kikimora was really popular for like ganking
Yes.
Rorquals and stuff.
That is one of the ships that I have here that we need to compare this as well, because I mean it stacks up against the other ships. It's quite similar to Thresher Fleet, like I said, with key differences. But then it's never going to tank as well as this little ship here, the Catalyst Navy issue. It's not going to do nearly as much damage at range as the Kikimora, for example. So it's going to have like drawbacks and bonuses that other ships don't. But it's that speed, I think. If you're in factional warfare and you're in the corrupted system and you have like extra warp speed as well, having this to quickly reinforce your friend who's tackled in like a small somewhere, like that could be crazy strong to get there as quick as this ship can get there. Comparing this to the other destroyer, which one do you actually prefer yourself? This or the Mamba?
I'm really biased towards the Angel Cartel ships just because they have brand new ship models and it's really hard
Yeah, it's hard to not love them, right?
yeah.
But what about the actual ships themselves, like their bonuses that they bring to the table? The Mamba is a very different ship. Can you tell us what the Mamba is?
The Mamba is basically like a Corax and a Worm smashed together. It has almost the same firepower that the Corax has. It just has one less launcher slot, I believe, but it does have a bigger damage bonus. So I think it actually has more firepower overall than the Corax does, with 10% per level. And it's also not kinetic lock like the Corax is, so it's a bit more flexible there too. Then it also has the Worm's drone bay on top of that, and it has the shield resistance bonus from the Garusta's ship lineups. So the Mamba has like very high EHP as well as very high DPS, but it's a lot more slower.
Yeah,
Since it doesn't really get that much more mobility over the regular Corax, which is already one of the slowest destroyers in the game. And then also it doesn't have a range bonus. It actually loses that bonus in exchange for the drone bay. So it is very much like kind of like a Pokemon ship, as I call it. It's really good, if you sit next to someone and you both take turns at hitting each other. But when it comes, it is something that can be defanged and kited out.
it is much slower, of course. I mean, Garista ships aren't known for their speediness, right? They are known for their incredible tankiness, however. And like you said, this being a ship that has both drone damage, missile damage, and tank bonuses, like this makes it a very competent little ship. You also spoke about the range being nerfed on it, so it's not actually good at doing very kitey stuff. I think this as a brawler could be insanely strong. Something similar to what I'm got here, which is like a rocket setup. If this catches you, scrams, webs you, and it's got drones on you, rockets on you, you're in for, you're going to get punched down really hard. Would you see yourself flying this more as a rocket ship then? I know you were like a rocket Castrol fan for a long time, right? You would probably rocket fit this.
Yeah, I'd definitely go rockets on it. But you can go light missiles too. But you wouldn't be a man if you didn't fit rockets. So.
Damn. So out of the two, you prefer still the Macabal because of the way it looks. But who do you think would actually win in a fight, a Mamba or a Macabal? Because I kind of lean towards the Mamba here.
I think it depends on what range it is and like what are the conditions of the fight. Because, like I said, the Mamba can be cutted out and defanged and killed. So, like, I'd say something like an artillery Mechaball might be able to just shoot the drones down and then just stay out of range of the javelin rockets and then just hold it at 20k.
Yeah.
And like slowly whittle it down. Although going through the Mamba's 5 flights is pretty difficult.
It definitely is. Anyone knows who has tried to defang like a Garista ship where it's a worm or, most likely something like a Gila, it feels futile. You're like halfway through and you're just almost wanting to give up. And I think in a frigate, when you don't have that much, or frigate or destroyer, when you don't have that much tank, trying to defang a ship like this is going to be really difficult.
Yeah, I definitely think the Mamba has the advantage up close just because it has that like huge missile DPS with the shield resistance bonus. It just has very high firepower and EHP at the same time.
Yeah.
But it is slow. So I mean, maybe the Mechaball can just tackle it with a warp disruptor and then you just call in your friends and kill it.
That's a good point. Just outguide it, call for friends. The real evil way. One of the strongest destroyers in my opinion is the Kikimora, which you mentioned before, which we have here. How do you think both of these things stack up against the Kiki? Because the Kiki is very different.
I think the Mamba probably destroys the Kiki 1v1 if the Kikimora gets caught. Because it has like way more EHP and it also just has like higher DPS for most of the fight.
Yeah.
Although I think the Kikimora, just because of the fact that entropic disintegrators have huge tracking, that's just like it's better than blasters, right? So
Yeah,
I think
it's
the
pretty damn
Kikimora
strong.
deals with like frigates a lot better than the Mamba will.
And big targets as well. That's the crazy thing about it. It'll probably still remain like the squeeze a bunch through the wormhole, kill the big ship type deal. I don't think the Macabal or the Mamba are going to take over that role, and I think you'd probably agree.
Yeah,
Kikimura is still going to be king there, right?
yeah. Although the Mamba does have the advantage of maybe you can do something weird with like drone assists.
Yes,
Like you can
I actually have a friend who multi-boxes. He was multi-boxing like 10 worms yesterday, just fucking around, camping people, trying to do epic arcs. And he's enjoying that a lot. So I'm sure he's looking at the Mamba and the Alligator. Because we're gonna go actually next and talk about the battle cruisers, which correct me if I'm wrong. You helped design the Alligator and the Kisriel, right?
Yeah, so I co-designed the Kisra and the Alligator. CCP Bedek worked on the destroyers, and CCP Aurora did the Angel Titan.
I think without further ado, let's go check out the battle cruiser, which in my honest opinion is what I'm most excited about. I am a huge enjoyer of battle cruisers. I feel like destroyers die a little bit too quickly. And frigates, they can be fun. But I mean, I'm not going to say anything bad about them since I'm talking to CCP Castro. So we're going to warp over here. We're going to see a big circle of all kinds of battle cruisers. We're going to kind of do the same thing that we just did. Go through what the Kisriel and the Alligator are, their bonuses, and kind of how we expect people to use them. And then try to stack them up against the already existing battle cruiser that we currently have. Now, we had a bunch of new battle cruisers. Can you talk a little bit about what came in the last couple of updates when it comes to battle cruisers?
So in Uprising, we added 4 new Navy battle cruisers. There already were 4 to begin with. So we added the Myrmidon Navy issue, the Cyclone Navy issue, the Prophecy Navy issue, and the Ferox Navy issue.
Do you know which one is seeing most use at the moment?
I'm not too sure. I think the Drake Navy issue, the Cyclone Fleet issue, and the British Navy issue are probably the most popular for like small gang. I know wormholers like the Prophecy Navy issue quite a bit just because it's like a EHP brick and they tend to like those things.
My favorite of them all is the Cyclone Fleet issue. The Cyclone Fleet issue we've tried a few times on stream, and it's so fast and it does so much damage at such a nice range. But now that these things are coming out, I cannot wait to play these puppies. So we're gonna start off in the Alligator. We're gonna upgrade here from the Mamba to the Alligator. Can you talk a little bit about the bonuses that this ship has?
So the Alligator has almost the exact same bonuses that the Drake has. The Drake, except it has a slightly better missile bonus than the Drake because instead of being kinetic locked, it now is kinetic and thermal locked. Unlike the Gila, though, it doesn't get any bonuses to light missiles, so only heavy assault and heavy missiles on the Alligator. And then it just has a Gila drone base slapped on top of it, so it's really formidable.
Yes, that sounds terrifying because I mean I think it's really smart that decoupling this away from like a rapid light platform. If this had rapid lights on top, then oh my lord. But thankfully, this is a heavy missile, heavy assault missile bonus chip with very tanky shield resist bonus on it, and on top of it, the drone damage bonus, like you say. This is basically a Gila that can also MJD, right?
On top of that, it can also give itself a command burst as well. So
that as well. I cooked together a fit. I didn't have crazy amount of time to make these, but I made something that when I was looking at it, I was thinking, you know what, this could be really fun as a fleet concept. Just I know if you get void bombed, the entire thing's dead. However, something with like heavy missiles and using both the drone damage and the missiles and just MJDing on top of your enemy constantly. Because the best thing you do against Gilas is just run away and try and like not get the drones to catch up with you. But if this thing keeps MJDing the whole fleet onto you, that could be terrifying to try and deal with. Do you think this ship is going to be used a lot in fleets?
I'm not too sure how much it'll be used in fleets. So it doesn't actually have the missile velocity bonus. It actually got that traded out for a drone micro warp velocity bonus. We were trying to make sure that the Alligator didn't completely obsolete the Drake Navy issue. So we gave it
Yeah.
like clear strengths and like weaknesses compared to the Drake Navy issue. So I'm not sure if like fleets will like it, but you can of course just use it like a heavy healer. I mean, people already use healer fleets, so
Yeah.
it has an extra low slot, so it can do more damage. It's way more tankier. Has MGD as you mentioned, can potentially fit command bursts, and it has that small drone speed bonus, so the drones are a little faster on top of that. So it definitely could be used in fleets, I'd say.
When I was looking at it, I thought, hey, let's try and make a solo fit. And then at some point, I was just looking at the EHP of this thing with, not even a completely full tank fit here. I've got an ancillary current router on there. I've got an MJD still on here. And I'm still pushing like 111,000 EHP on the battlecruiser, which still does like almost 850, 900 DPS if you overheat. I was like, oh my God, this thing's going to be nuts. It's like, you're not going to break this very quickly because of that resist bonus it has, and the amount of damage it pumps out is just bonkers, right? I think I've just fallen in love with this ship today. But you were comparing this to the Drake mostly, and the Drake Navy. How do you think this thing stacks up against other battle cruisers? Because you said we had a bunch of new ships come in. Do you think this is going to start taking over the role of other battle cruisers in certain areas of space?
I think it could be like a great brawling ship in low sec with hams. It doesn't have the range or application bonus that the Drake Fleet issue does, but it does have like similar levels of EHP as the Drake Navy issue on top of the resistance bonus. And it's still quite a bit faster than the Nighthawk. So it might hopefully be able to use mobility over the Nighthawk, and the fact that you have the drones where you can like assist them to people, or you can send them over to stuff that's 50 kilometers away, which you can't really do in a Nighthawk. Hopefully that keeps it like interesting there.
I'm sure it's got a lot of people's interest peaked for sure. It's got me very interested. I was talking to Amelia Dustspace and Pando on Pando's FC chat the other day, and I was actually surprised that Amelia was way more hyped about the Alligator than about the Kisriel. I thought the Kisriel would be like completely up his alley, but he was more hyped about the Garista battlecruiser, which kind of took me by surprise actually. I think that this is going to become a very popular ship given some time when people realize how strong an MGD and Gila can be. You could probably fit this in a multitude of ways where you can fit it only for drone damage and then just play around as an MGD and Gila. You can fit this as like a mixed drone damage and missile ship. And I think it's going to be kind of terrifying to get held down by this ship. If it catches you, if it scrams and webs you and holds you, you're gonna have a really bad time. I kind of want to hop into the Kisriel, and this ship is insanely pretty. Have you seen what it looks like in this build here?
Yeah, the Kisriel looks great. It looks like a giant menacing bug.
It does. It really does. So let me actually zoom over there to show chat as well. It's the coolest profile of a ship that I've seen in a while, and it also feels and looks so bug like. It's got these like armor plate looking things on it. It's got all these like things that go around it. It's got this back part which kind of pulsates and does this like this thing. It feels like a living little bug thing, right?
It also has the really cool Angel Cartel like glowing logo in the middle of the ship,
Yeah.
and then the like glowing lights that branch out of that.
And then like when it goes into warp, it kind of closes the middle part to protect the logo, right? So that nothing hits the logo when it's warping. So I kind of like that as well. I'm gonna hop into this thing here for a second, and let's talk about this ship and how you expect this to get used. So you didn't want this to feel exactly like the Hurricane Fleet issue, for example. Can you talk to us about the difference between this ship and the bonuses on the Hurricane Fleet?
So the Kisriel doesn't quite have the same Alpha Strike as the Hurricane Fleet, because the Hurricane Fleet issue just has one big damage bonus, whereas the Kisriel has a rate of fire roll bonus. and just a smaller damage bonus. And it also doesn't have the tracking bonus that the Harken Fleet issue has, so it's going to struggle a little bit more with tracking stuff. What the Kisril does have, though, is it has a fall-off bonus, so it can hit a bit further. That's especially good with autocannons. One thing for the Kisril as well is that it still has the combat battlecruiser roll bonus, where it gets 25% optimal and fall-off on top of that, and that stacks with the 50% fall-off bonus. So you can get like pretty insane like barrage range on the Kisriel, like 52 kilometers, I think, with barrage and like 2 tracking enhancers on it.
Yeah. And that's the cool thing about it too. If we talk about just the slot layout of the ship, it's very, it doesn't push you in one direction or another. Like you'll feel tempted to make an MJDing kind of utility one where you can move around and have cap and activity tank, but you're also tempted to, wait a minute, what if I just shield tank it and just have a bunch of damage and a bunch of tracking enhancers? How do you foresee yourself flying this kind of a ship?
I'd probably fly it more of a shield style. I was thinking, like with MWD, double LSC, and an invul and the damage control, you still have like 80k EHP, which is really high. But then with like nano double gyro double TE in the lows with the damage control, you have like really solid damage, really solid projection. The Kisriel also has like a really big drone bay. It has the biggest drone bay for a Mimitar battlecruiser in the game, and I think it's actually one of the highest.
It's got 75 bit, doesn't it? So it can actually put out a much bigger drone wave than people would probably expect.
Yeah, you can do the like 75 M3 combo, which is 2 heavy, 2 medium, 1 light, and then you also have like a backup light flight or like EC 300s if you want.
Or 3 sentries if you're special.
Yeah, I mean, that could also be very viable in fleets, right? Just drop 3 sentries.
Absolutely.
Do that with Macario, let's say.
So this is actually the ship that I am the most hyped about. And it's also, again, that warp speed bonus that these ships get. And seeing how fast this could be, like in this instance, I made a fit that has a couple of hyperspaces on there too, and it warps at 6.66 AU. I kind of want to warp this around a little bit and just show it off because it's such a cool little ship. How about
with the base speed and agility, it's really close to like a rupture. Like we wanted it to feel about the same as like a Mimitar combat cruiser, where the Cinnaball is kind of like the stabber. The Kisriel is the rupture in terms of speed profile, and it warps with the Angel Qatar warp speed bonus between a Tech 1 cruiser and a heavy assault cruiser, like the Tech 2 cruisers. Your one goes even faster because you put the hyperspatials on it.
It does go a little bit too fast, I guess. It was too fast that it actually wasn't able to open and close the thing in time before I landed at the sun here. But I think this could be used in such a cool way. Like I was a huge fan of roaming around in the Cinnaball because it was just it's so easy to get around. You'd go into someone's area and you could ping pong around their systems before the fleet that would catch you would show up. And it's such a nice way to skirmish when you have fast warp speeds. And you can travel between systems like much quicker than any other ship, which is like this unseen bonus. If you can get there before this fleet catches you, you've also survived in a different way. You don't have to have the on-grid strength. You can also catch targets a lot easier. I think this is going to be out of the bunch probably my favorite thing to go for. Also, just it looks crazy cool, but maybe that's just because I really like the buggish style of it, right?
And just having new ships in EVE is always cool.
Yes, 100%. I'm gonna warp this back to where we were. I do actually have a special guest, which I'd like to introduce right now because we're gonna go to the third place here. But before I do, we're gonna invite someone to come chat to us. It's not a CCPer, just a personal friend who has made a name for himself in the hyper dunking area of the game. Everyone, welcome Kraket. Kraket, hello.
Hello.
So you are known for flying the character A Ragnarok.
Yes.
And you've had quite some adventures in that big thing. Can you tell us a little bit about what you've been doing in that ship?
Yeah, so I made a bit of a name for myself, I guess, by safe logging in staging systems and like one-shotting marauders for I don't know, like the how long has it been? Like a year or two, I guess. Like it's been a while, and yeah, just uploading those videos to YouTube, I guess, and then yeah.
What I love is that when everyone was complaining about the Marauder era, you were like, you know what? I know a way to just one-shot these fucking things. And then
That's how it
you would just,
started, yeah.
yeah, and you would show up in these RD fit Ragnarok and just delete people, right? They would be there stuck in their Bastion mode, just minding their business. You warp in, zonk someone, and you're off again. I wanted to talk to you because the next place I'm going to warp to is going to be where the Azerial is. And I wanted to see how you feel about the ship. Because I'm going to share something here that you're actually in the design document when the Azerial was being designed and made. I was very happy to see that your videos and your kind of hyper dunking playstyle there is being referenced when this ship was being designed. And I think CCP Aurora mentioned it as well, that this is the ultimate hyper dunking ship. And I couldn't go look at it without having you here to talk about it. So how do you feel about the way it looks? Start there.
I mean, it looks awesome, obviously. Like, it's like compared to the other models, it's fucking insane. Like,
it is a very, very cool looking ship. It's got a very menacing, angry look about it. It has that very buggish feel as well. So I did the same thing here as with the other ones, where I spawned a bunch of things, but everything just bounced everywhere. I got some things we can ping pong between. But let's actually talk about the ship and its bonuses, because this is a ship that's, as Aurora said, is going to have the highest possible alpha in the game of any ship, right?
yeah,
how exactly how excited are you to finally get your hands on something this crazy? You've been asking. I know you've been talking about the ship for years and years, right?
Yeah, like it basically does everything that I do with the rag, but better in like
Yes,
every single way. So like, and we've been simming this thing in Pive, obviously, and just seeing the alpha, it's just insane. Just like not even fitting damage mods and stuff. It's like, I think like 16k more alpha or something. Like it's just an absurd amount of damage. Yeah.
it is an absurd amount of damage. It's also incredibly fast at warping. That's another huge bonus that this ship is going to have over the Ragnarok. It's going to have that bonus where it can warp faster. How important is it to be able to have that bonus on there?
Well, like on top of the bonus, it has an extra low slot as well. So like I used to fit a gyro in the lows to get more damage, but I would have to sacrifice something. So I would always like fit 2 hypers instead. And now with this thing, you can also fit 3 hypers and still fit the damage one. So like in a vacuum, it looks faster, but it's even faster because of the fitting space. Like it adds up a lot. But like to your question, like basically the main thing for me obviously is like warping to the target. As soon as I log in, people are gonna be like, "Oh, he's here. I need to like piss off right away." So like the faster that I can get there, the better, obviously. And then on top of that, when you're escaping, people are gonna start combat probing you, obviously. And the faster your ship is, the faster you'll land as well. And a big thing when you're trying to escape is if you're like landing really slow, then they can get multiple combat probe results as well. So like the window
it's an
where you can
extra layer of safety to not take 18 days to land on the safe spot or wherever you're ping ponging off, right?
Like people don't realize how easy it is to catch like a non-hyper super. Like you can start probing and get like 3-4 probe results where like if you warp to that and you see the other results, like, oh, I can just burn on top of them and decloak the guy. And with this thing, that's not happening. It's just like I said, I've been testing with other ships just to see what the probe results would be, and it's insane. Yeah, basically you just get one shot to probe it. Like if it's cloaking up, you get one shot at trying to probe it down, and otherwise it's just over. Like it's already cloaked up.
Yeah. So you've been flying mostly known for a Ragnarok. You also have things for the characters a Hell. I believe you also now have the character an Azerial. Is that correct?
Yeah. So basically during the Twitch stream where they announced it, I wasn't even home. Like I missed it by a couple minutes, and some random hordling got the character before me. And I basically, like, I just, as a joke, I said in like main Discord somewhere, I said, like, well, if someone has it, DM me. And then he actually DM'd me and was like, well, you can have it if you want. So So he basically started biomassing it, and then like we timed it where he biomassed it, and I quickly claimed the new character, and then I got it back.
Nice.
So yeah, I have
What
that
a
as
nice
well.
hurdling.
Yeah.
So I wanted to kind of show this ship off next to other ships as well. I have a couple of pings that I made here. It was actually kind of funny when I came here and I was prepping this. These all just got yeeted in all directions. Like, okay, well, how do I? I want to do the same thing as the other ones. Just have a circle to play around with.
Bigger.
So CCP Kestrel, how do you feel about the current iteration of what this has become? Because this wasn't designed for quite a while.
I think it's awesome. It's like super flexible. Like it's great that it can be used in the hyper dunking gameplay, and I think like a lot of nullsec guys will like it too because you can like dual tank it pretty hard with the 7 mids and 7 lows. And I know when CCP Aurora gave it the extra hit points that all the pirate faction ships generally get when they get upgraded from Tech 1 to faction, a lot of the HP was put into armor, so it has like the same armor and shield HP. You can flex tank it or dual tank it if you want.
Definitely can. And you can also choose which Doomsday you want to put on there, because this is a dual bonused Titan. It follows that same line where you're not stuck to one. Can you talk a little bit about that, Kestrel?
Yeah, so because the Azerial is Angel Cartel, it uses the Galanti and Mimitar Titan skills, and so it can fit any of the Galanti or Mimitar Doomsday weapons or Phenomena generators. So you can use I think it's called Aura Omni Doomsday, the Thermal Doomsday, or the Horn. I'm going to get killed by Icelandic people for butchering that.
Jarlahorn.
Yeah. Yeah, but you can
I don't know why we do this.
You can fit the thermal and explosive Doomsday weapons.
Yes. So you can actually pick which one you want, and they do different damage types. And we're going to see me do basically what a Ragnarok DD would be. These, of course, are unfit ships here, so they will just get zonked really hard here. But it's kind of cool that you can have both. You can choose and pick and choose what you kind of want. You can't obviously fit both, or you can't use two, but you can choose which one of the two you want to use, which can be very, very useful. I'm going to look for a moment at the traits and the bonuses of the ship itself. You said that this has more tank because it's a faction ship compared to the other ones. Let's just look at the actual bonuses. They're split here between Galante Titan and Minotaur Titan bonuses. Fall off, track and speed, damage, rate of fire. And then, of course, you have the expected bonuses here with Phenomena, Jump Portal, Clone Rat, all these bonuses. But then it has that extra one here, the warp speed and acceleration, which Cricket talked about a little bit before. Cricket, what did you think about the slot layout? You were talking about how the slot layout of this is more giving than a Ragnarok, right?
Yeah, so the extra low slot is a really big deal, because like for the hyper titans you kind of need the triple inertial to get the 10-second sideways warp and all that. Yeah. And then for warp speed you obviously need the low slots for the what's called the hyper accelerators. And because it has 7, you're limited to 3 hypers in the low, and you only need 3 inertial, so you have like an extra low slot that you can use for anything anyway. And like I said, with the Ragnarok, you had to give up something.
You have to pick and choose, right?
Yeah,
you have to give up one thing to make use of the other one.
Yeah, exactly.
But with this one, you're gonna have your cake and eat it too, right? Or however that saying goes. Is there anything else you guys think I should be looking at when it comes to this? I think for the most part we've covered what the ship does, how it how it's going to play in the game itself. How long do you think it's going to take before you get yourself one of these, Cricket?
We'll have to see, dude. I've been selling a lot of stuff to get my ISK up.
liquidating.
Yeah, it's rough. So we'll see.
I think when people start seeing an Azerial in local instead of a Ragnarok, it's gonna send a shiver down their spine, and and I look forward to that time starting. I think that's for the most part is covered. Is there anything you'd like me to do with the ship while you have us here, Cricket? Would you like me to warp it around a bunch? Would you like me to shoot a few
No, I don't
things?
know. Wait, can you? Because I was actually curious. Can you check the stats on the? Because the EWAR bonus wasn't on the presentation.
Yeah.
Like the what's it called?
You're talking about this weapon disruption?
Yeah, sensor strength, but also the
signature radius.
signature. Yeah.
I can open up
just
all
scroll
of the
down?
stats.
I think it should be the sensor strength should probably be about 50% higher than the Ragnarok, and
Oh,
the
jeez.
signature
Okay.
radius should be about 10% lower, I think,
Sensor
if I
strength.
remember correctly.
Yeah, so it's also harder to probe by a lot.
Yeah.
Like way harder to probe. That's huge.
It
The
is.
sensor strength.
For those who don't know, if you have your ECCM strength higher than not, you're actually a lot harder to probe down. I think they compare. I think it's ECCM or your sensor strength
Yeah,
and
ECCM,
your
yeah. And
and
like
your,
the base value. That's why, because the Titan has such a high sensor strength, it's actually like once you're running triple ECCM and stuff like that, like on hyper and stuff, the supers are easier to probe than the Titan because like the base value is so high.
Yeah.
So like 285 sensor strength is like it's gonna be really hard to probe. Like
yes, especially if you're ping ponging around quickly around a big system as
Yeah.
well. If you're trying to
that's
to
another
saves.
thing. Like so you're landing really fast and then you have one chance to probe you down, basically. When you're already harder to probe because of the base value and ECCM and all that.
And then you get your cheatiness ping and just cloak up and
Yep.
wait for the next time. I cannot wait to see you have fun with this thing, see videos and hopefully get some good dunks going. I'm gonna warp it around a couple more times and then I think we're gonna be calling it here. I just wanted to thank you both for coming on and chatting to me for just a moment about the ships. Is there anything you'd like to add before we call it here?
Yeah, I was gonna shout out Ben. He's like the other dude who does Titan gameplay, basically. I Am Tired on YouTube.
Yes, he's been doing a lot of like pause Titan shenanigans, right? Where he'll reset the password and yeet himself out and it's
or just like surprising. They think they get a free pause kill and he logs in and there's suddenly a Titan. Yeah, yeah. He's I'm Tired on YouTube. I think like he has the Titan
fantastic.
videos. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure that we shouted him out during one of the community beats because we
oh sweet, yeah, that's cool.
I can't wait to see. Do you think he's aiming to get one of these as well, or?
Well, I've been talking to him as well. He's actually on a break right now. He's going to uni, so he's not as active right now. But I mean, all the Titan guys are looking at these. So, but yeah, we'll have to see how much it costs because
yes,
that's amazing.
That is a discussion for another day.
Yes. All good.
I think on that note, we're gonna thank you both for coming and joining us. This was the third installment of the Havoc and Focus type videos. You guys should get ready to get used to this kind of cadence where we do a blog and then a video leading up to the expansion that's coming. Expansion is going to be on the 14th of November next month. Next week, we're going to have yet another blog and another video and another live stream. And then slowly but surely, November will be here. Before I go, I want to talk about something that's happening in, I think, an hour from now. There's going to be a GM Week roam. This is a roam that I used to host and fly an FC, the CCP guys. Now that I am working at CCP, I kind of delegated them down to another streamer. And today we're going to have Erstlike take the GMs out on a PvP roam at 1800, sorry. I believe he's not called Erstlike anymore. He's also rebranded himself to Erst. But you guys will probably catch up with all that news. I believe that's going to be live streamed on the CCP channel. Is that correct? I'm getting a nod from the guy next to me, so we should be good on that. Thank you all so much for tuning in. We will be here again, like I said, next week. We hope you have a fantastic weekend and good luck killing some of the GMs in the room in an hour. I think that's all from us. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.